Guys, David the Thrifty Mechanic here. I got a video for you guys talking about timing belts. What do you need to do timing belts? Or to at least have a good idea on what you will need to do a timing belt. So, first and foremost, I'm going to start off by saying this is for me. If you do a timing belt, you are doing a timing belt on your own choice. Nothing that I offer in this video is considered a warranty or guarantee and should not be taken as such. It is just me passing on friendly advice onto another friend. So, just saying that. So, to get into the video, I'm going to give you my top 5 tools for doing timing belts that I couldn't do it without it. So, first one is a good 1/4" socket set and ratchet. So, you guys know how much I love these damn things, these comfort grip ratchets. Well, Snap-on came out with a 1/4" comfort grip, and I've been all about it. I saw it on the truck like a week or two ago. I was like, I want this. Give it. So, he did. And I traded in my other ratchet for it, so yeah. So, good 1/4" ratchet set. Save you a lot of time. Another thing you can do, if you don't want to do that and you don't want to spend $100 something or you don't have a Snap-on rep, which would be kind of scary, is you can get a 1/4" air ratchet. Now, this would require a compressor. So, unless you have a decent sized compressor, I have a 33-gallon compressor. Unless you have a decent sized compressor, don't worry about it because it'll eat through the air really quick. Even my 33-gallon compressor, it would turn it on if I kept it running for too long, it would turn on the compressor pretty quick. So swivel sockets are also really cool, but they're not necessary. So 1/4" socket set. Now that includes extensions, universals like that. Not universal sockets, but universal swivels. So really useful. Make sure you get them. From there, you're going to want a 3/8 socket set and ratchet because once you get to the tensioners and stuff, your 1/4" isn't going to do it anymore. You're going to break it. So these things are tightened down to 72 foot-pounds. Your 1/4" ratchet might be approved up to 60. So, I mean, there's not much meat. I mean, that itty-bitty little piece of metal there is handling all the load. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't put breaker bars on these things. You'll break them every time. Yes, they have a lifetime warranty, but why break something? It doesn't make any sense to me. So, get a good 3/8. As you can see, it's a comfort grip as well. I love this thing. It's like one of my favorite ratchets ever. So, good 1/4" ratchet set with sockets and extensions. Good 3/8 ratchet set with sockets and extensions. Now, that's the basics. You're going to want something extremely important. And this is for removing gaskets. And if you guys have done plenty of water pumps, you know what I'm talking about. A razor blade. Now, you got like tools that hold these things and all that. Me, I don't do that stuff because that's really, really bulky. And once you get down into those really tight water pump areas, that handle and stuff that holds these isn't going to do you any good. So you get in there and you just move it like that. And you clean up the surface. Another thing you can do is if you don't have one of these, or you have one of these and you got most of the stuff up, you can grab a handy dandy. Where'd you go? I just had you. There. Handy dandy brush. So whenever you're doing water pumps, you have to clean the mating surfaces before you put the new gasket on, or else you're going to have leaks. It's not a case of if, you are going to have leaks. Because that gasket's not going to have a clean surface to seal on. Think of it as like you got an uneven surface here and you're putting a flat surface on it. Guess what? You're going to have holes going through that and water's going to seep right through. It's going to be under pressure, so it's going to find a way out. So, getting a brass brush. Do not use steel. You can use either brass or nylon. Do not use steel. You'll mar the hell out of that surface and it will never seal again. So, use brass. If you're doing that, this kind of goes in with the razor blade because this is the first step. You take off most of the stuff with the razor blade, then you use this to kind of get into those nooks and crannies to get all that shit out. So, really, really needed when you do water pumps or timing belts or anything that has to do with water pump or a mating surface. So, we've got 1/4" ratchets, 3/8 ratchets, and sockets. We've got our razor blades and our brushes. What do you need next? it's one of those things, like, I like to have a good visible thing of nail polish. Now, you probably saw Charles from the Humble Mechanic talk about nail polish. Green stuff, that's too easy to find and mix in with coolant. I like to use a bright blood red nail polish. I feel like it brings out my eyes. So, yeah, guys. I mean, this is a little cheap one. I stole it from the wife, and she said she didn't want it anyway, so it works for me. And it'll last you a long-ass time. So whenever you're doing timing belts, and you're getting in there, and you got to make sure your timing marks are perfect, you got your cams timed, they're all right where they need to be. Guess what? Take a little bit of this, put the new belt, put the old belt on, hit it right in that spot. And then from there, you can take that and put it on the new belt and make sure that the new belt lines up with the old belt, because the new belt often has timing mark lines on it. Toyotas do. They have 2 solid lines for the cams and then a dotted line for the crank. So it's pretty easy to put them on. It's very straightforward. They try to make it as easy and painless as possible. They're like, well, you got this far, we're going to just make it easy for you. So, integral to making sure you do not screw up. A white paint pen will also work out well. Pretty much anything that is visible, that you can see very well, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. So, make sure you get stuff that's going to work for you. So, there's 4 good fingernail polish or something to mark your marks. And the final thing, because I dealt with it before when I was into wrenching a lot more. My first timing belt I did not have these, and I wish I did, because every time I went to go set the damn crank, the timing belt on the crank, the top part of the timing belt on the number 1 cam or something would pop off. And that is little clamps. Now, these things are lifesavers. You've seen me make videos about these before, but I never really talk about how much of a lifesaver these truly are. If you are trying to set up an engine for timing and all that stuff, and you got all your cams in time, but your belt keeps slipping off, guess what? One day you're just going to get frustrated, and you're going to throw the fucking belt on, and you're going to be like, fuck it. Because we all do. We hit fuck it. And then your belt is out of time, and you kill an engine. Yeah, you're supposed to turn it over twice, but you're frustrated. You don't think of that stuff. This eliminates that, guys. You take 2 of these, put 1 on each cam, right on the belt. You know, set it, like say that's the cam and the belt's sitting right on top of it. Like that. They have 6 pounds of force right here. So it's enough force. Always use them. Anytime you're putting a new belt on, use them. It'll save you a lot of trouble. And it also helps making it easier to mark stuff. So, yeah, that's really cool too. There's my 5, but I can think of like an extra credit bonus stage if you want, and that is swivel sockets. This job was made so much easier using swivel sockets. Now, guys, they're very expensive. Don't get me wrong. I got Snap-ons, so they're pretty damn fucking expensive. 3/8 one cost me almost $550, so they're pretty expensive. You can buy them at Harbor Freight, though. It doesn't have to be Snap-on stuff, guys. This is not extreme conditions where you need the best of the best. I bought the Snap-on ones because I was stupid. And if I knew that like Harbor Freight made them, because I don't use them as much as I should. But I use my 1/2-inch ones for like steering suspension stuff. They're great for that, because we all know how fucking pain Pitman arms are, or Idler arms, or anything else for that matter. But the 3/8 ones I don't really use too much. So brakes and stuff, and maybe something else every once in a while. But yeah. So if you guys are looking for ideas on how to get started, possibly doing timing belts and stuff, you're going to want a good set of Allens, preferably Allen sockets. These are a lifesaver, guys. I can't express to you how much I am thankful for my number 10 Allen. These will go in for a North Star head, if you're taking the heads off a North Star, which if you are, I'm sorry, but if you do happen to find yourself in that situation, the number 10 Allen is going to be your best friend. And make sure you have one, a long one, because you're going to need it to take the head bolts out. You also need it to take the tensioner bolt out. So, in a lot of applications anyway. So, those are just some of the tools that I would recommend having for when you do timing belts. Another tool I would also recommend, and this is kind of auxiliary as well, is lots of light. You know, I got this flashlight, I got that flashlight over there, I got the one that's lighting me up right now. I had like 4 lights going at the same time, and that's because you can never have enough light. If you cannot see what you're working on, you cannot fix it. I can't stress that enough, because my wife came out and she was getting mad at me because I had all these lights on and stuff, and I was like, look, I'm doing this for you, okay? I'm saving you $1,000, because that's how much this bill would have been. I mean, at $100 labor rate, it called for like 3.4 just to do the belt, and then another 0.7 for the water pump, then another 0.4 or something per cam seal, and I did everything. I did the cam seals, I did the water pump, I did the timing belt, I did all the tensioners, I did everything. So all in all, it was about 5.5 hours, 6 hours of labor. That would have been at least $600 right there in labor. And if you would have bought these parts from a dealer, they'd mark it up. Not a dealer, but a shop. They would mark them up 1.5%, 2%, 2 times. And a $250 timing kit would have turned into a $600 timing kit or more. So I did all this and more for $300. So you can save yourselves a lot of money doing this stuff, guys. You just gotta have the drive to do it. You gotta have the know-how to do it. If you don't know anything about timing belts, if you don't know anything about cams, if you don't know anything about working on that stuff, do not work on it, okay? I cannot stress that enough to you guys. You will destroy an engine like that if you screw up a timing belt, okay? If you work at a shop, ask any of your older technicians, how nervous were you to do your first timing belt? And they're going to talk shit and say they weren't nervous, but they were scared. And I know they were, because when I did it, I was scared. And I'm not afraid to say it, because I'm comfortable in my own skin. So trust me when I tell you, do not attempt something you are not comfortable with. If you are not comfortable doing a timing belt, okay. But if you have to do the timing belt, like in a shop, if they say, this is your job, you got to do this timing belt. Well, ask questions. Ask lots of questions. Do not be afraid to ask a question. The moment you don't ask a question is the moment you make a mistake. And the moment you make a mistake can often lead to the destruction of an engine, which means you'll either lose your job, you'll get rode up, or you'll just genuinely have a bad taste given to everybody who's employed you. So, don't do it. Another thing to inspect whenever you're doing timing belts, if you've never done one before, look at the bearings, guys. Okay, now this is the idler pulley. And what I do is I like to spin these things. That doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But you take it and hold it up to your ear. You often feel for any kind of sandiness. This one feels a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Like I would, if it was money was an issue, which it wasn't because I bought everything, but if money was an issue on these, I wouldn't put this back on. The reason why is when you spin it, it sounds like sand inside. It's not a big issue, but it's definitely one that could be an issue down the road. You want to give these customers a good quality fix, guys. You don't want to just say fuck you and go on your way. They're paying a lot of fucking money for this stuff. So you listen to this bearing and there's nothing in it. I would definitely reuse this. The first thing you got to do is make sure that your bearing isn't like loose. So always feel your bearings, feel your tensioners, feel your pulleys, okay? They'll save you. So this goes bad, it burns through your belt breaks, then all of a sudden you got to pay for an engine. Simple as that, guys. And with Toyotas and stuff, you can buy their OEM parts for 1/10 of the price. I went to Toyota to get a price on an entire timing kit before I knew about Rock Auto. And before I even thought about Rock Auto. I knew about them, I just didn't think about them. But, and the exact brand, Koyo, makes Toyota's timing components. They make their idler pulleys, their tensioner pulleys, and all that stuff. So, I call them and I'm saying, hey, I need a timing belt kit for a 2000 Toyota Solara with a 3-liter engine. The guy said, okay, VIN. I gave him the VIN. Then he gives me this fucked up price of like $780 for it. And I'm like, you're on crack. So I go on Rock Auto thinking, okay, I'll find some stuff and I'll just kind of pencil myself together a timing kit. They had the whole goddamn kit. And the thing is ASIN, the timing kit I bought, the ASIN kit, is the OEM kit for Toyota. It's the exact same kit. Check it out. It says Toyota there, ASIN right under it. So that's pretty funny. I bought the OEM thing for $200. That shows you that the dealers mark everything up to stupid high prices just because they're the dealer. So, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions about timing components and timing belts and timing and water pumps and all that stuff, please don't hesitate to ask. Go down into the description, not the description, but the comments, and say something there. If you guys are wondering like what my worst timing belt was, it was probably on a Nissan Altima. It wasn't even a timing belt, really. It was a timing chain, and that was the worst job I ever did. It was the most painful job, about 14 and a half hours of labor that it paid, so that tells you something. And I was running like a chicken with my head cut off because it seemed like every 5 minutes I was going and bugging my master tech, asking him questions, to the point where he helped me to the point that I could get it done on my own. And that took about 5 hours. So once I got everything apart and I got the chain out, it wasn't a big deal. It took me about 5 hours. Getting the chain back in was the different part. So, just keep that in mind, guys. This isn't the worst job in the world, but it can definitely be a bear if you're not careful. Please be safe, guys. Do not do anything that you're not comfortable with. If you are not comfortable with doing timing belts, take it to a shop. Spend the money. Because guess what? You fuck that belt up, you're eating that. They mess a belt up, they're eating it. So who would you rather eat it? So, yeah, guys, I actually just reorganized my box again. I don't know if you care to see it, but she's pretty again. I decided to lay out my my impacts in a different fashion because I was tired of having to lift one up to get to the other. I laid down my main sockets right here because these are the ones I use the most. And obviously my new ratchet, my impact sockets, and my impact swivels, as well as my extensions, and so on. Nothing else has changed in here. These things helped me so much with this timing belt job that I just did. So did this. If you guys don't have a little miniature mirror, I suggest getting one. Because if you're doing a timing belt, you're going to need one. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything else has changed in that respect. I mean, I got this now. If you guys don't know anything about these rock. So, yeah. I'm still missing that 12 millimeter wrench. I'm wondering where that went. So, hopefully it turns up. Hopefully it's not in my wife's car still. So, well, I'm David the Thrifty Mechanic, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. And stay thrifty. Nice.